What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another day in Car Mechanic Simulator 2021 with me, the Virtual Mechanic, and today's project from the Taxi DLC. 2 left to go. This one is the Lacroix Marseille as we jump in and take a look. On the wrong screen, but never mind. There's the Lacroix Marseille. 3 configs on this one. And we've gone for the Taxi Fast version. The 3 configs are a standard version. This wide front bumper, wide kit, you can see on there. This doesn't come on the standard version. There's also some big fins on the side and some hood scoops. They don't come on the standard version. There is a fast version, which comes with all the parts I just mentioned, apart from the taxi badge. And then obviously the Taxi Fast version, which comes with all of the parts and the taxi badge. We'll obviously cover more of that when we come to the bodywork later. This is what we're going to be working on today. We're going to get this beautiful car restored, a lovely fresh coat of paint, all new body panels, or at least looking new body panels. Get this beast onto the dyno, and then it'll be onto the racetrack to see if we can beat the Olsen Prami Club with a 141.811, currently in last. The Cab Roma with a 140.771, currently in third. The Security Aura in a 139.326, holding on to second place. And securing first is that Bolt Escapade with a 135.469. Will the Lacroix Marseille be able to beat any of those in today's video? I certainly hope so. Maybe we could get this one to the top spot and only have the liner navigator left to go, which I am hoping takes the top spot, but we'll find out as we get there. Let's jump in and take a look. This is obviously front wheel drive. There we go. No rear drive shaft going back there, and we are missing quite a lot of that engine, so we're probably going to need to buy a whole new engine in there a bit later. So let's have a look. If we jump into our car status, it is the Lacroix Marseille Taxi Fast. We've obviously already covered the configs. The engine in this one is the i4 2-litre double overhead cam turbo. Now again, I use a lot of mods, so sometimes my engines aren't named as they should be. I think this one is just the i4 double overhead cam turbocharged. Just get rid of the 2-litre and add charged on the end of that. I think that's how it should look in the shop. We'll find out in a minute because we need to go and buy a whole new one of those engines. But did I get a good deal for this car? No. 4,453 is what we paid, and I could currently sell it for 4,332, but only losing out on 121, so I'm sure that's not going to be too bad. We'll be able to claw that one back with restoring this beautiful taxi to its full shiny glory, looking absolutely wild from the films, I think, anyway. Let's just carry on. It is looking good. As I said, we do need to buy a brand new engine because, yeah, we have the oil pans. We probably will need to drain the oil. We have the drive shaft, but obviously that doesn't count as part of the engine, really. Gearbox is on there, but we're going to be buying a new one of them, so it's only really the block, the pan, and we do have the pistons with comrades in there, so clips and things like that, but I'd probably be replacing most of that anyway. So let's go and buy a brand new engine. If you use mods, especially ones from Nexus, you might have stumbled across TK Basics. I do use the TK Basics mod, and that allows me to press Z on this screen, and as you can see, it changes this one here, so I can buy crate engines, tuned crate engines, or engine parts kit. I think that comes with everything, or just the tuning upgrades. I'm not sure. I've never bought one of these. Maybe we'll do that in a different video. For the minute, though, we're just going to go for the tuned crate engines, and we are obviously looking for i4 double overhead cam turbo, so I'm assuming it's one of these. Turbocharged. That one, I think. Let's hope. Let's buy it. 14,999 straight off the bat there for the engine. Obviously, we still got the gearbox, the starter, and some liquids to top up on that one. But let's go pin it on the stand and see what she looks like. We've already seen this one, I think. Not in this configuration, though. Not with the turbo on there, because this one is front-wheel drive and not rear. But everything else is very similar to the other i4s we've been working on in the Taxi DLC. They all have a very similar engine. So there we go. This one's just got a shiny little turbo on there. But we can come back to that one later, so never mind. Let's go back into this beautiful car. Let's check out a few little bits that are missing. Obviously, we are missing... sometimes I wish the zoom mod part worked when you don't have to click on a part. We are missing 3 wheels, so that does show me there is a lot of suspension missing. We've got floaty knuckles just held on by the shocks. No upper and lower arms there. No upper and lower arms there. No shock. But this one is held on by the inner and outer tie rod. So there you go. They're very powerful items. You need them to be able to hold your steering knuckles up. Anyway, let's go do it properly. As you can see, there's no upper, just the lower arm is missing. Brakes, the actual front drive axles, sway bar end links. Well, we're missing the shock on that side. We are missing quite a bit from the suspension, but it does look like we've got all the central rubber bushings though, so always good to see that one. Down at the back, if we can get down there. One side, this side is complete actually. Nice to see that, relatively complete on there. And this side is missing an upper arm, bushings, another sway bar end link, shock absorber, brakes. Yeah, so we've got some stuff to repair on this one. Oh, we've actually got a big rear muffler on this one, unlike the normal ones. But there we go. Lovely exhaust running all the way through with a catalytic converter and a middle muffler in there as well. Obviously, we're going to replace all of that. And then inside the engine bay, although that's all missing as well, we got ECU, ABS pump, brake servo, power steering reservoir, wishy-washy reservoir, coolant reservoir, radiator, fuse box, battery, and a medium intercooler as well, just to give this one a little bit extra power. I do think this one is going to be pretty good. I'm definitely looking forward to it. I hope you are too. Let's get started. Let's get it into the car wash and get the Lacroix Marseille all cleaned up. She's all clean. Rusty, but clean, so we can live with that. What is that coming out of there? Is that a part, or is that just a bit of thing? We'll find out when we take that fender off later. I've got no idea what that is. It looks like you could use that as an exhaust cutout, so you could bring your exhaust out through the fender. But there we go. The livery is also on the under fender, and for some reason the front bumper is yellow, and I'm going to assume that the livery doesn't have a tuning parts variant, which is how you end up. So normally with liveries you get a standard livery and a tuning livery, which is for the tuning parts, and I'm assuming these are tuning parts and they don't have the livery wrapped onto them, or there isn't a tuning livery to go on there, hence why they're yellow, and the rest of the car is in white with a black checkerboard running front to back, down the sides obviously. But there we go. Hopefully we'll be able to sort that one out later. We won't end up with a silly looking part. Probably does mean that the other parts that I was mentioning earlier probably also aren't on there. So there we go. Anyway, let's get this up in the air and get the last bit of that oil drained out from that engine. Obviously, because we're not using it anyway, we do have a full crate engine ready to go in there. Fully performance parts and ready to go. So let's drain you out. There was hardly anything in there anyway. I didn't expect there to be much. What else are we going to need to take out for our gearbox? Just this front drive axle and then the gearbox straight out. Look at that. Our first rusty bolt. There you go. Nice and easy. Out you come as well. And then we should be able to just lift that little block straight out of there and then get rid of it because we don't need it anymore. Where's the engine crane? I don't know what's going on. I don't even know what day of the week it is. Let's grab the engine crane. Let's get that little i4 pulled out of there. Out you come. That's what we like. Nice and easy. Now, obviously, we've got no liquids to drain because there is absolutely nothing in the engine bay anymore after we took that block out. I've got my work cut out trying to get all of this suspension back together, ready to go. I'm going to get all of this stripped out, repaired, replaced, or upgraded, depending on whatever we need. Obviously, like I'll buy the performance bushings, performance brakes, and things like that. Any of this that can be repaired to go back on that doesn't have a performance part version will be repaired and will be going back on this beautiful little, not so beautiful at the moment, but it will be, it's soon, beautiful Lacroix Marseille. So I'm going to crack on with that, and by the time we come back, it'll be time to start stripping this bodywork off and see what's going on underneath and see what parts we've got ready to put this beautiful Lacroix Marseille all back together. Let's sort the bodywork out of the most extravagant car from the Taxi DLC, the Lacroix Marseille. Off with that front bumper that looks absolutely wild. What else have we got on here? We've got the fender, the door and window. Obviously, we're missing this door. I don't imagine there's any side skirts. Tail light, rear bumper is on, so we've got to take that off. No trunk, no window, but a window wiper. As you do. Out with the other tail light, rear door, no window on that one, just the door, and no passenger door. Driver door. We're on the other side today, aren't we? And off with the taxi badge. I think that's everything for the bodywork. Let's crack on and see these seats. Now, are these, they're just normal seats. What about the back seat is the M8 bench. So nothing new for this beautiful car. Actually, let's check the steering wheel. Steering wheel 14, I don't think that's a new one either, so let's just get you out and we'll put that back together exactly as it came apart. Maybe do some things with it later, but have we got everything off? That's not the screen I want to see that. There we go, bare frame. That's what we like to see. So we could swap it if we want to, but I don't want to swap it. Definitely make sure. There we go. Everything is definitely out. So let's get on. Frames at 15%, and we bought the car for just under 4,500. What do we think today? I've got them all wrong so far, I believe, so I'm going to go 750. 800, so close, but not quite getting it. There we go. Let's get in and check out the bodywork for the Lacroix Marseille. Where are you? There you go. This is all your standard body stuff. We do have the hood scoops in there. I thought these were a tuning part. Maybe the hood scoops come on the standard version. Let's go into body tuning and have a look. The Lacroix Marseille, the only one from the DLC with additional parts. So it's a spoiler and a front bumper. Okay, so that's interesting to know. I kind of want to test. I'm not going to do it now, obviously. I want to kind of test and see if the fins and stuff are on the normal versions. I don't know. Well, sorry, the non-fast version and the non-taxi fast version. I want to know if the wide fins and stuff are on there. So let's go back into the bodywork station. Lacroix Marseille. Where are the fins? Oh, these must be the fins. 1 is the hood scoops, 2 is the fins. So I wonder if they're included. So if I go into this mode, you can see you've got the hood scoops up here and these massive fins at the side. Yeah, car part 2 and car part 1. I wonder if they still come on the standard version, because there should be a standard front bumper. There it is, to replace this wild front bumper if you wanted to. But we're not going to do that. This is going back together looking like it does now, with the fins on the side, the hood scoops, the wide front bumper, and the spoiler on the trunk. That's exactly how we're going to put this one back together. So I'm going to crack on and go repair the body panels I can repair. Obviously, we did have a lot missing, so I've got to buy all the bits we need to buy, and then we can get this beautiful car back together and into the paint shop. And I'll be honest, it's probably going to come out looking exactly the same as it does right now. White with this black checkerboard striped livery running down either side and in the engine bay, which is quite an interesting feature. I'm not sure if that normally happens, but there we go. So yeah, I'm going to crack on. I'll be back in just a minute. Once we get it all back together, we'll head into the paint shop, see the liveries, and decide on the colour. Let's crack on with getting this beautiful little Peugeot/not Peugeot taxi all back together. Starting with these wonderful fenders. On you go there. Brand new fender. Front bumper, though, we managed to repair the yellow one, which does kind of make me want to keep it that way, just for funsies. But anyway, black license plate on the front, and we've obviously got our headlights on there. The hood looking quite cool on there. I do like the fact that this grille is black, and I'm wondering if it's going to stay black or whether it's going to go body colour when we finish. I'd quite like it to stay black, if I'm being honest. We'll see, though, as we crack on. On with the fender. It is saying that this is a base yellow, so I'm assuming that this is realistically tied to that livery. So it's got a yellow base on it, but there is a white and black livery over the top. We'll find out properly in the paint shop in a minute. Repaired door. Again, still thinking it's a yellow base. Brand new mirror on there. Let's keep going around. Right door. On you go with the window, and then we've got our rear window on there, and our big old trunk with that awesome looking spoiler. I do think that looks quite cool, and I think I'd like that spoiler as a bonus part spoiler somewhere that I can use for some other builds. But anyway, on with the rear bumper and a tail light. On you go and on you go. Obviously that rear bumper is bought from the alternative part shop, not the main part shop. Same with the front bumper. If you need to buy that one, it's the alternative body shop or the tuning body shop, not the standard body shop. Anyway, let's crack on back around. On with these doors. On you go and on you go. Obviously repaired, hence why the livery's on it. Window in, and mirror in that side. Then we got our beautiful taxi sign on the top, the obviously Taxi Metropolitan A, B and C. I don't know what the A, B and C stand for. If you know, let me know in the comments below. Quite an interesting little feature of that one. Then we got these beautiful wing side parts, the car part 2, just adding so much whip to this car that it might actually take off. I wonder if it can produce enough aero to do so. But anyway, and then car part 1, our lovely dual hood scoops on the top there, just adding more aggressive definition to what is quite an aggressive looking but cool car nonetheless. I think that's everything, though. Have we got everything back on? That's not the screen I want, but it does indicate somewhat. There we go. 100% and 100% for the body and frame. We need to crack on with this interior as well, so let's get you in. The rear bench is obviously the bench M8. We discussed that one earlier. The front seats, now they are seat 1, but I've changed the seat. I've gone for leather A, this two-tone one with some black leather, mostly because the rear bench is the leather, so I'm hoping these side bits will sort of match and we can change that interior colour interior, the inside colour of the seat on the interior. Don't know why I chose interior as the choice word there. Brains work in wonderful ways. And the steering wheel, we just get it back on for steering wheel 14. And that should be everything for this beautiful car. Now, double check again. 100%, 100%, 100%. Just got all of our parts, engine and suspension to go back in. But for now, let's get this beast into the paint shop. Check out the liveries. We know there's at least one, and see what colours are available for this one from the factory. In the paint shop then, with this beautiful Lacroix Marseille, lots of different colours going on at the moment. This door is blue, this door is grey, we've got yellow on the front bumpers, a bit grey on there as well, yellow wrapping around. Yeah, it's a bit missed colours. I'm not sure why this door is blue. I do think that's quite interesting, considering I'm sure earlier it was white with the checkerboard pattern on it, but anyway, let's crack on. First things first, let's check out our factory colours. We've got a lovely metallic sort of silver on there, looking nice. Gloss white. Then we got a metallic black and a gloss black, a gloss silver, grey, a gloss grey, a blue, a metallic blue. It does look quite good in the metallic blue, not going to lie there. Then a gloss silver and a metallic silver. Oh, dark grey, I guess we could call that. This sort of, I don't even know, beigey, browny, it looks like a hint of purple in there, maybe a bit of orange. I'm not sure. Anyway, not a nice colour in my opinion. Then a lovely metallic red, and then obviously we've got that gloss yellow that the front bumper was originally in. It looks a lot like a taxi in that yellow. So I'm going to go back to a gloss white, and let's go check out the liveries on here. In slot number 1 is obviously that checkerboard pattern. And now I will show you, if I just change the colour up to like a really vibrant red, you can see the front bumper isn't part of the livery, and nor is that trunk. So if you want to use the alternative parts with the taxi design, you've got to match the colour, which I do believe is just the standard white. I went too far, but there we go. I think it's just the standard white on there, so it's easy to match, relatively simple if you want to do that. What have we got in livery option number 2? Is the Taxi Regis. Now, is this colour locked? No, it is not. We can make this one any colour we want, but it's just got the Taxi Regis logo on it. That's about it. Not what I want to go for, although I do like the fact that you could make it any colour. Nope, just those 2 liveries. So we go back to the first one, because I definitely want that checkerboard sort of pattern. We could go for like maybe a black. Yeah, it's going to look weird with the trunk in it. No, I think we just leave it all in a bright white. I can get it back to white. That's not the right one. That's the one I want. There we go. I think that's what we're going to go for. It'd be nice if I could just change the spoiler cover rather than the trunk and the spoiler. So I might try that one a little bit. Maybe these hood scoops could go black as well. Along with, obviously, the mirrors are already black, but maybe a more definitive black on there. It's good to see that the grille bit on the hood there stayed in that sort of blacky grey colour. Glad to see that. And I think we just leave the fins as a white. But I do think on the inside, though, we get on the engine bay, this one I want here, paint all screws including rims, is definitely the one I want. I don't know why I paused for so long there. Pause for dramatic effect, I guess. I want these in red because I want to do this in red, white and black. So it's going to be like all the brakes are going to be red, ignition coils probably red, things like that. A few little dots of red splashed around, maybe a bit of red on that interior, although that might be too much. We'll see as we go on, but I do think I want the red. I'm not going to go for a full vibrant. I'm going to bring it down just a touch, and we'll use the same red on everything that we've got on the inside that we're going to make red as well. So I think that's what we're going to go for. Let's get you painted. Obviously, we're in the white with the checkerboard livery and a few red accessories. I do want to just open up the hood very quickly, and there it is, ABS pump and module. On you go, and we'll get the module on top and just check that they did go red. They are a red. That's all I wanted to see. Out you come, and let's get back to it. There we go. Now I'm going to crack on. As I say, the center of these seats, I'm either going to keep a white, but a bit more brighter white than that, or we could throw a splash of red on it. It might be quite nice. So I'm going to take these out anyway, see what options we've got on you, and you, and yeah, we'll take the steering wheel out anyway. If we can get a little bit of splash of red on there, it'd be quite cool. I do think I want to take these parts off because I think I want them to be black, along with I want to match the mirrors to the black that's going to be on them top bit. So I want to get it a nice sort of colour match. And I am going to take this spoiler off, or trunk off, and I'll just see if I can two-tone that spoiler bit and maybe get the spoiler just in a black. That's things that are definitely going to happen, or I'm going to try to make happen. As regards for the rest of it, I think we just stick with some chrome on the sort of underside. Oh, actually, no, we'll go for some brushed aluminium. We'll go for some brushed aluminium on this one. We'll do brushed aluminium on all like the metalwork on the underside and things like that. A few bits of brushed aluminium in the engine bay. We'll do a white exhaust, maybe a black exhaust. We shall see how it all looks a little bit later on, but I think that's the plan. That's what we're going to go for. Let's go turn it into a reality. I'm going to crack on, get everything painted. Next time you see this car, it'll be on the lifter, suspension will be on, and we'll just have the engine left to go to get this car all finished off, ready to go outside in the sun, get on a dyno run, and then hit up the racetrack and hopefully knock off the Bolt Escapade. That's everything painted for the Lacroix Marseille, looking absolutely fantastic. And you can probably see a couple of little bits might look a little bit different. To start with, we put... That never works. I don't know why I always try and do that. There's always a pillar in the way. To start with, we got white and leather in the centre parts of these seats. A little bit of a dip in there where it clips down, but there we go. Looks pretty good. I'm quite pleased with how that turned out. I couldn't put white leather on the back without it looking wild. And I mean absolutely wild. So I just went with a bit of white for the seatbelt strips. It also does a little bit, as you can see, just through there on the side. And if we go round to the back part of it, that's all sort of mostly covered. You can see a little bit through the window if I didn't have it all fully tinted. That's the interior. I didn't do anything with the steering wheel because it was full colour option or nothing, and I thought it looked weird in a full white or a full red. So we'll gloss over that one. We did manage to do these in a gloss black. They look pretty good along with the mirrors, so it's a matching colour on there. And if we head round to the back, it wouldn't let me two-tone the spoiler. It was either one colour for the whole trunk and spoiler combination or not, so I just left it in the white. I thought it looked weird with a full black trunk just to try and get a black spoiler, so we left that one as it is. The tail lights, I can't remember the exact definition, but we got about 50 or 60% coverage on the tail lights there, just taking some of the colour out, and it also makes the bulbs go a little bit darker on there, and I think it looks pretty good. We did the same at the front, except for the front there's no lens coating on it. You just get the bulbs go darker as well, and again I just think it looks a bit more mean, a bit more aggressive, especially with that catfish front end. That really does remind me of a catfish. I know what I'm picking for my license plates, but there we go, because I haven't done them yet. And yeah, that's definitely a catfish. Catfish taxi. But the taxi from the films Taxi, Taxi 2, and Taxi 3. Yes, I didn't realise there was 3 of them, but there we go. It is looking absolutely awesome. Let's get in and see the engine bay. A lot of black in there, just a lot of gloss black. We did the red bolts, obviously. A little bit of white on there. That's about it. Or we did some brushed aluminium on the bolts for the battery tray there, and that was pretty much it. The rest of it's in a gloss black, apart from the radiator, which is in white, the fans, which are in a red just on there, and obviously we got that medium intercooler in red as well at the front, just to make it look a little bit more meaner. A bit more meaner, that's good England, isn't it? A little bit meaner through the front grille there. I just think it looks quite good. I'm quite pleased with that. Let's check out the underside. I did say I was going to do brushed aluminium, and we have lots of brushed aluminium accents in there. I think it's cool, looking quite good. White disc, white knuckle cover, should I say, not disc. That's the disc. Red brake calipers, red springs, and then gloss back black pretty much everywhere else. I think it's all looking... Didn't mean to zoom in there. All looking pretty good up there. Let's jump down to the back. If I could get there. Come on. Thank you very much. Again, all mostly brushed aluminium in the centre parts. We got our red bushings, a little bit of black on there, red on the springs, and obviously red on the brake caliper as well, with the fuel tank in a black and the fuel pump in a lovely red on there. That's all the suspension, the engine bay, and the bodywork covered. But now we need to go and build that little turbo i4 engine. In we go. She's on the stand already looking quite nice. The block itself is in black and white, and all of these little bits, like that's a separate part, because I have mods, TK Aftermarket and TK Basic, changed this composition of this engine. So this part here is a part, this part here is a part, this part here is a part. The hose is a part. Then obviously we've got our fuel injectors just up there. Around the back, this is a part, this is a part, and obviously the hose as well. And then obviously the oil filter, and then the normal bits, as you would assume, going around there. All coloured, looking quite nice. The head is in a white and red. I think it looks good. The timing cover is just in a straight up black on there, and we did black and white on the cam gears just for something a bit different. I think they look pretty good, but let's crack on. We got our fuel rail on here on top of them at fuel injectors in a black on there, looking pretty good. The fuel rail pressure sensor is in black and red, just for a splash of something else to look a little bit different up there. And then our big intake manifold is actually in a black and white, but as you can see, the white trim on the edge doesn't really count. So it's kind of just in a black, if we're being honest. But there we go. Let's get all these bolts done up. We got the IAC valve just down here in a red and white for a splash of colour, and the throttle up here in a black and white just to add a bit more definition to the finished product. If we go up onto here, the head cover is in a red, and I think it looks absolutely fantastic. Very performance tuning sort of style on this one, especially with the rest of it being black and white. It is a good look in my opinion. Ignition coils, we did them just in a black, so they contrasted off of that red, and we also did the cam position sensor in a black up there as well, again just to contrast on the red. The exhaust manifold, this is in a steel black, forced from the Quality of Life mod. I was holding somewhere where I thought there was going to be a bolt, and there wasn't, but there we go. Instead of a gloss black, and that's because I wanted to play around with the colours a little bit, and the only way I could get it was to do it all in steel black with the additional colour on there, which you'll see in a bit. The exhaust manifold cover is in a cheeky little white, and that is all we can do for the engine for the moment. The last piece, which is that turbocharger, goes on there once it's in the engine bay. Now, the other versions of this engine, weirdly, wouldn't let me pick the manifold cover or the exhaust manifold until it was in the car, whereas this one lets me do that, but doesn't want me to do the turbo until it's in the car. So something, I don't know if that's meant to be how it is, but still, we just have to figure it out as we go. But there we go. There's the little turbocharged i4 built. Let's get it on the Lacroix Marseille. Hopefully it's going to look fantastic in that engine bay. Yes, I'm a poet and I didn't know it. I can rhyme. It's not a crime. I promise I will stop. I'm sure you all made that noise as I said that. But anyway, let's get that engine dropped in there. Get that crane put away. And there it is. I do like that, especially with the white engine bay with our bit of checker black in there. It's sort of mostly you can see the white and the red as you sort of come close, and then all the little black details just start showing up. I think that looks really smart. Pleased with how that turned out. I don't know why I closed that. We're going to need it open again in a moment. But let's get it up in the air and get a few more bits on this beautiful taxi. On we go. We'll start all the way around with the gearbox. On you go. And I bet I've missed a hose again, haven't I? I put that manifold on, and I guarantee you I've missed a hose. If we nip round here, yeah, and I have to put it on in the engine bay. We'll do that, and when we come back to the starter, that makes perfect sense. Front drive shaft, in you go, in a white. The gearbox, by the way, is in white and black, and obviously the red bolts on it really just add a little bit more to it. Looking quite good. Then our front drive axles, these are just in a gloss black, and I really should have done them matte. That looks weird with all the shine on it, but never mind. On you go, and on you go there, and then we'll get our exhaust on. Now, the front exhaust section, this is the only bit that's got a bit two-tone on it. It says it's white, but it is in steel black, just with the white sheathing on it. Now we can put the turbo on when we're back in the engine bay. That's why the exhaust is all in steel black, because I couldn't get it to go gloss black with a white sheath. It just wasn't happening for some reason. But there we go. Catalytic converter, in you go. Resonator delete pipe, in you go. Then we've got our exhaust pipe, which does clip just a tiny little bit through there, but there we go. It is what it is. And on with the rear muffler box, obviously in that full steel black. That's all of it for the underside. Let's go back down, get that turbo, the starter, and the one hose that I always forget with these little i4 engines. And we'll start with that, I think, to make sure I don't forget it. Where has it gone? There you are. We'll just put you in there in a black hose with white clips on it. Then on to the starter, which is in a white, but obviously natural white, so it still gets that bit of grey on there. Just wanted to contrast the colours a little bit more again. And then nip around, and we'll get that turbocharger on. Now, this one, I think, is the only turbocharger in the game that won't let you, in this game, that won't let you two-tone it. You get one full colour option, and that's it. I tried red and white, black and red. It just wasn't letting me do anything, so in the end I just settled with a gloss black on there, keeping the texture, so not forcing it on the sort of turbo-y bit, and then obviously your normal gloss finish on there. Going into the steel black of the exhaust. I think it's all looking pretty good. We can close that now, although I'm going to need it in a minute to top the liquids up, but for the time being, let's move on to these beautiful rims. Now, it's not the classic 06 I've gone for the rim classic 17, and the fronts, make sure I get this right, is this one here. So it's an 18-inch rim diameter across there, 205 depth on the tyre, and a 40 profile, or width I suppose you might call that, and a 40 profile just finishing it off. No ET needed, and they are in a beautiful black and white with our red bolts that we did earlier, and I think that looks fantastic. I thought the brake caliper was clipping for a minute, but it's just where that's got a sort of V shape in it. It looked like it was clipping out, but it's not. Quite pleased with them rims. The black sort of molds into the black of the tyre, so it kind of looks like you've got this floaty rim, which looks really cool in my opinion. We'll see it properly in a minute. Talk about the rear rims. It's 18-inch rim at the rear with a 235 width or depth, so that's a bit deeper than the front, but still a 40 profile on there. And again, exactly the same finish with a black rim, white spokes and red bolts on there, all looking good. Let's get the rest of these all finished off and on, making sure we get the right one in the right place, otherwise it won't let us put the car back down on the ground. On you go, and we'll take a step back and have a quick look and then drop this car back down. I do like them rims. I mean, the style I went for was I had a quick look at the car from the films, obviously, hence why I figured out there was 3 of them. Didn't realise that. But I looked at the rim, and it's a very multi-spoke rim like this. Obviously, the film uses chrome or silver. I don't like that. I like to put a bit of colour into my rims. But the black hiding the sort of rim into the tyre does make it look like there's no actual rim. You've just got spokes directly connected into the tyre, and I like how it's turned out. I nearly went around the wrong side then. Let's pit you back down. Take a look from the other side where the sun's on it, and you do get a bit of a brighter look. I'm liking that. I think that looks smart. It looks fast. Will it be fast? We'll get it outside in the sun, get it on the dyno, and then take it for a run and find out if we can beat any of the previous taxis with the Lacroix Marseille. All done with our little catfish cabs, Lacroix Marseille catfish cabs, just because that front end just reminds me a bit of a catfish. I don't know if it's like the cat whiskers that come out of it. I don't know what it is. It makes me think of a catfish. Speaking of which, let's get our private plates on. Now, obviously, catfish cabs wouldn't fit. That would be too long. So I just went with catfish 1 on there. I think it looks pretty good, and it does make me think of a catfish. So there we go. I did say it earlier. That's what we were going to do when I thought of it. So it's stuck. There we go. Catfish 1 is our Lacroix Marseille taxi, looking absolutely fantastic. Although I think something's going on with the shadowing. I don't know whether it's just because it's got a massive wing sticking out the side, but something doesn't look or feel right there. Like, oh, I know what it is. The wheel shadow's off. The wheel, I mean, look at the wheel shadow on this. You can see, obviously, it's giving a big effect. If we go around to here, that wheel is, in comparison to the rest of the car, is barely giving any shadow at all. That's what's throwing me off. There's no wheel shadow on the Lacroix Marseille. Have we got wheel shadows up here? That looks like a bit of wheel shadow. It's hard to tell on that one or that one. In fact, this was a terrible idea because all the shadows down here are almost perfectly straight down. But you can see, I mean, just a comparison of that, the wheel shadows are insane, whereas this one just doesn't. It looked weird as I was stood there, and I'm like, what isn't right with that? But I think it's the wheel shadows. But I think it's because of this. Because of how far this sticks out, it makes you think the shadow should come out further. So I think it's more of a mental thing for me. But there we go. Something I've just noticed. Let's not spend too long on it. Let's jump inside our beautiful Lacroix Marseille and see what the little turbocharged i4 sounds like. Interior in here could be a bit more taxi-like. I do like the fact it is a manual gearbox in there. No meters or anything. I thought that was part of it, where it says please above the wing mirror, the rear view mirror, sorry. I thought that was like a please don't smoke in my taxi sort of thing. And I was like, all right, I don't know. Oh, yeah, it's on the wall. I should stop letting trains of thought ruin me. But anyway, taxi, the Lacroix Marseille taxi interior is a pretty bog standard interior. No ticket machines, no nothing like that to see how much the taxi journey cost, because they just make it up. Anyway, let's start this one and see what that little turbo sounds like. The i4 grumble, we've heard this a few times. This has been in a couple of the cars, but let's give it some gas. Ooh, that's got a pitch multiplier on it, or a modifier, I think. That sounds a little bit different, but not too much. And then you've got that lovely little turbo whistle just on the top end. My favourite sound in this game. But anyway, enough of that. Let's get this beast onto the dyno, see what its horsepower is, what its drag rating will be, and then it's onto the racetrack to try and knock out the Bolt Escapade. on the dyno with the Lacroix Marseille, or however you want to say that. 180 factory horsepower from that i4 double overhead cam turbocharged engine. How much are we going to tune it by, and what will its drag rating be? Let's have a look. A gain of 196 horsepower, 109% more than a brand new engine. Absolutely fantastic. Loving that one. Taking this up to 375 horsepower. Not the highest horsepower from all of them. The Bolt Escapade had 410 horsepower, so a bit more than the Lacroix Marseille. But the Bolt Escapade only had a drag rating of C240, whereas this one's all the way up at B310. So theoretically, although not the highest horsepower, the higher the drag rating, the faster the car, in theory. And that is also in theory of our leaderboard for the taxis so far. In last place is the Olsen with a drag rating of D140. Then it's the Cab Roma with a D172. Then it's the Sakura Tiara with a D189. And then obviously the Bolt Escapade with a C240, and now we've got the Lacroix Marseille at B310. So in theory, this should now top the taxi speederboard, as we're going to call it, as I've changed the name, I think, in every single episode, so why not? I think that's what we're going to call it. And maybe, just maybe, this should top it out with the faster time, beating that Bolt's 135.469. Can we do it today with the Lacroix Marseille? We've only got 2 chances left, this and the Liner Navigator, in the final episode of the Taxi DLC. Who is going to take the final title? So far in my head, it's between this, the Bolt, and the Liner Navigator. They in my head are the top 3. I haven't tested any of them up until, well, I've tested all of the ones so far, but I haven't raced anything or tried anything, so I have no idea how this is going to end. Just my assumption that these two, the Lacroix Marseille and the Liner Navigator, would be the top 2 in theory. But that Bolt really threw me off when it took the top spot and held on to it for so long. So we shall see. But anyway, before we get there, let's have a look at the Gearbox tune for today. That's what I've gone for. And I'll be honest, I've only moved this slider down a little bit. It started off at like 55 kph in first gear, and then I've moved it down so it's at 62. So it's not that much different. I haven't adjusted any of the ratios in the actual gears, only the final ratio. So it should be pretty good. We'll see once we get it onto the racetrack. Now, obviously, in the past 2 episodes, I showed you how to do the carburetor perfectly every time on an actual car in a video, rather than linking you to the short. But there is a short in the description below for the carbs. And the ECU is already done. Given a 60% tuning, there is also a short to do that in the description below, link to there. Make sure you go and check them out. Both shorts, both easy to understand, I believe, as far as I can tell from what people have said. They can make sense of it and work it out how to do it every time. So that's the 2 videos. You should definitely go check them out. Less than 60 seconds each. The ECU is linked in the top right hand corner up here somewhere on some devices, not quite on every device. You might have to go into the description and find it that way, but it's definitely worth checking out, especially if you like tuning like I do, getting as much power as you possibly can from each vehicle. So there we go. There it is, the Lacroix Marseille Taxi Fast Edition with a nice gear tune. Let's get it onto the racetrack and see if we can take that top spot from the Bolt Escapade. Well, here we are then on the racetrack with the Catfish 1 Lacroix Marseille, or again, however you say that. I'm so bad for pronunciations, or at least I think I am. I might be pretty good at it, but nobody tells me, so I don't know. We'll find out if I get some abuse for how I've said this. Anyway, we're on the track. We need to beat the 135.469 from the Bolt Escapade. Can we do it from this beautiful little fast taxi? Is this the fastest one? It's the only one with fast in its title, and it is a movie car as well, so fingers crossed that we can beat the Bolt today. We're going to do a standing lap, which you won't see much of, depending if something terrible or funny happens, and then a full flying lap, and you'll see all of that regardless of what happens, because that's the time that we're going to compare them to. So let's get on with it with this beautiful little movie car. Let's go. Come on, you little beast. Let's get off the line, and away we go. That's not too shabby. It does feel like it pulls quite nicely, although it's got plenty of understeer, being front wheel drive and all of that, so we might have a bit of work cut out ahead of us, letting off the acceleration on some corners, maybe braking more than we need to, and I am going to drop it down a gear then, because that just felt sluggish. But anyway, the rest of the time it feels pretty good. I'm not going to lie, it's quite quick. The big right-hander, let's definitely shave a lot of speed, and even then I can't fully accelerate around the corner, so that was maybe a bit more speed needs shaving before that corner on the final lap. We shall see. I think we're going to beat the Bolt Escapade on the standing lap, which is going to be crazy. Not with cornering like that. We won't. Almost hit that tyre wall. That was very, very close. Are we actually going to beat it round the final corner into the home straight? Have we beat the Bolt Escapade on the standing lap? I can't tell. I'm driving. 1:35.286. I actually think that is. The standing lap is faster in the Lacroix Marseille than the Bolt Escapade on its flying. Hopefully I can keep up this good run and get an even better time with our flying lap, but I haven't done the best through that first section, if we're being truly honest. I'm sorry, it was terrible. But let's carry on. The first big bank left turn, definitely going to need brakes and gear, maybe 2 gears down. 1 gear down, 2 gears down, but then it jumped back up to 4, so we went back down again. Flat through here. Nice and flat through there. That was good. Can we keep it flat through this one as well? Oh, a little bit of overcorrection, I think, but we should still be all right. It's very squirmy, this car, I'm not going to lie. The big right-hander. Oh, it's gone all the way down into first gear. Why did you go all the way? I only pressed the gear down once, but I still failed the corner anyway, so it made no real difference. I am terrible at this. Let's crack on. Now, big bank left-hand turn. We couldn't keep it flat in the first lap. Can I get a better intro and maybe keep it flat on the second? No, we're going to have to let off a little bit there and just pushing the width of the track just that little bit further than we probably should have, if I'm being honest. Final section, nice lot of speed coming into it. That is fast, 220 I think I got up to then. Definitely shave a lot of speed off there and try and not make as much of a meal as I did in the first lap. Round we go. Down a gear for the final straight. Come on! Are we going to do it? Terrible driving, but I did actually manage to beat it. So I am happy with that. 1:34.401 for the flying lap, which was a bad lap in all honesty, considering it was 1:35.286 for the standing lap. So my driving is terrible. I did better on the standing lap than we did on the flying, but it still counts. It is now the first place car with a 1:34.401, knocking that Bolt Escapade. It's been at the top since it took the track. Now it is second. Thank you very much, Lacroix Marseille. Let's get it back to the garage, see how much all of this cost us, and get a new view of the taxi speederboard. Just the one taxi left to go, that beautiful liner navigator. I am looking forward to that one. It's going to be in the next episode. But here we go. The Lacroix Marseille managed the lap in a 1:34.401, mostly thanks to my terrible driving, let's be honest, considering we did a 1:35 in the standing lap, so it was close. But anyway, that has changed the order of the taxis. So now in 5th place is the Olsen Prami Club with a 1:41.811. In 4th place is the Cab Roma with a 1:40.771. In 3rd place is the Sakura Tiara with a 1:39.326. In 2nd place, no longer top spot, is that Bolt Escapade Mark IV with a 1:35.469. And now stealing the top spot, at least for the time being, is the Lacroix Marseille with a 1:34.401. Absolutely fantastic from that little beast. But now let's talk some facts and figures. We bought the car for $4,453, and it wasn't a good deal. We lost out on just over 100 credits, but we didn't do that. We spent $22,523 on the suspension and engine bay, getting it all looking good, including all the exhaust and things like that. $16,246 on the engine bay, gearbox, the starter, and topping up all the liquids at the end. For the bodywork, the interior and that frame was $5,823. The very wild bodywork on this car. Our wheels and tyres today were $5,746. Private plates 1,700 as usual, and the paint and finishing for this one was 19,450, pitting our total spend for the Lacroix Marseille, now the taxi speederboard leader, at 75,000 941. Not too shabby. I'm quite pleased with it. We did spend quite a bit, 75,941, but hopefully we'll be able to make some profit when we finish with the taxi DLC and we come to sell all of these bad boys. So there we go. That's enough of that. Let's get off the B-roll and get back to the beautiful Lacroix Marseille. I'm stuck on the pillar. There she is, looking absolutely fantastic. I've really enjoyed this. I mean, it is a film car. I kind of want to do another one of these. I mean, I'm definitely going to do another one of these without the wings for definite, and I may try and make a custom body kit for it. See how we can get it. I'll try to keep this front end if we can, because it's cool, but try and make some stuff match up with it. If anyone's got any ideas or suggestions for that, do let me know in the comments below, because I think this could be an absolutely awesome vehicle. With my terrible driving, we still managed to top the taxi speederboard, so I think it could actually be a pretty quick all-rounder and look pretty good without these fins. I just think they look a bit silly, but there we go. Unless you're going to make it fly or glide, in which case it makes sense. But it is what it is. Right, now back to this. Let's have a look. Obviously, it is now all 100% complete with its drag rating of B310. And that engine from 180 horsepower up to 375, which was a gain of 109% power increase. According to the dyno, it's always different on this screen. No idea why. But we spent 75,941 to get there. When we come to sell it, will we make some money? With a sale of 108,176, we will definitely make some money. 32,235 in total. Pretty good. Not the most profitable, second, third most profitable from the taxis so far, just in case you wanted to know that information. But there we go. We're not selling it, obviously. We've still got one taxi to go with that beautiful liner navigator. But do let me know what you think in the comments of the Lacroix Marseille. I've enjoyed this one. It is definitely, as advertised, a fast taxi currently, or taxi fast, that should be the other way around. But anyway, currently topping out the taxi speederboard with just the liner navigator to go, and we'll see what engine is coming in this one in the next episode, along with how much it cost and if we got a good deal or not. But let's just jump in and see it. There it is, liner navigator again at I mean, look at that, the picture looks great. Liner navigator, 2 configs. One's obviously a standard car version, and then the one that we've got, which is the taxi variant. Quite a lot of miles on this one, available in all the places, and ours is, well, it's all right in all honesty. I mean, you could clean that up and drive it, maybe polish a bit of them dents out if we could. Maybe I think that's a missing bumper, but anyway, it should be good nonetheless. I myself am definitely looking forward to it, and I certainly hope you guys are too. So make sure to join us back here on Thursday for the liner navigator, the final taxi from the taxi DLC. What have you guys all thought of the taxi DLC so far? I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. Some people would have liked to have seen real brands. I don't mind it. I quite like the Lacroix brands. I think they add a level of it. You know, it looks similar to, if you know what I mean. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the branded cars, but they're sometimes hard to get licensed for, so I get it. I've enjoyed the taxi DLC. We've still got one more to go. Hopefully you'll join us back for it. But do let me know what you think or have enjoyed so far in the taxi DLC, or what you've not liked about it. If you've not liked it for a reason, let me know in the comments. It's always good to hear from you guys. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Do leave a like if you did. Don't forget to share this video with someone you think may enjoy it, with just the one taxi left to go. Which one will be the fastest? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you really want to help out the channel, hit that join button below. For £2.99 a month, less than a cup of coffee, it really supports me. You get access to the Discord, where we can have a lovely chat and a laugh and talk about cars and, well, anything you want really. You also get access to all my custom configs and liveries when we get back to that. We've been too busy with the taxi DLC for the moment, but it's always worth it. If you like the custom configs that I make and you want to build them yourself in game, you can do so by becoming a channel member like these guys on screen. Absolute legends. I love every single one of you. My channel members are heroes, all members of the VM Garage Club. But anyway, if you want to join, it's £2.99 a month. These guys are legends. You too could become a legend. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day wherever it is you're getting up to, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.
Like and subscribe for virtual mechanics.